We got Q. Today, we're going to be interviewing the master, the man who leads in inventions in engineering. So I can't wait to see what Q has to tell me. So what's been going on today?
Not much. Trying to get some things done. Again, I think I shared with you. I have some things going on in San Francisco, so I was just on a call with the partner of mine in San Francisco. So I'm trying to get things situated, see if I can keep both feet here in Detroit versus going back and forth. Right. I'm a part of a startup over there. They're doing robotics and AI generated apps and mechanical. Right. Yeah, I read your bio. You're pretty
Did you?
proficient.
Oh, okay.
You're universally talented. Also in music. I'm like, wow, this guy's all over the place.
Well, yeah, that is true. It's been a busy weekend for me as well. But you're the person of interest, though. So I don't want to mispronounce your. Is it Q Tang Do?
Is Q Tang Do
Tang
Do?
Do.
Yeah. Yeah, but I go by Q, which is a lot easier. Yes. Really? Yeah, I actually Q for me, it was a nickname during high school, middle school, is because people couldn't pronounce the name, and I'm pretty much a gadget guy, so I'm Q from the James Bond version in aspect. Yeah. Dr. Gadget. I like that, Dr. Gadget. That's a new one. Yeah. I'm originally from Vietnam, and then we got sponsored by a Catholic charity to go to Philly. And then from Philly, we got sponsored to go to Detroit. So I grew up in Detroit about 15 years. That was my childhood. Yeah. So I was the kid who always had a fork, or in my case, I'm Asian. So I had a chopstick and poke into the plugs in the walls to see how electricity works. And then trying to fix the VCRs that way too, and toasters and all that stuff. And my dad's just saying, I don't know, you're just too much of a tinkerer. You got to do something mechanical engineer or electrical, something tangible, right? So that was me. Right, 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 right. Mm. Yeah,
A little messy too, but
yeah.
even with the mechanicals of robots, I always stayed on the electronic and programming side. I go out there and PM robots, not just not cut off for that. I'll do it, but that's
That's not you.
not my thing to be wrenching.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just started the last couple of years wrenching on my own cars, just to see if I could do it.
Right.
But in your quest, did you start off?
Well, I wanted to be an advertising man due to the inspirational film Bewitched with Darren Stevens. So he was an advertising guy, and I thought that yeah, I was a guy that was sitting in the back too, doing like graffiti art. So I used to come with these ad campaigns back in the day. So I wanted to go that direction, but then my parents just like, no, you got to be more practical, do engineering and like, or something like medicine. And I was pre-engineering, but then I went back into advertising and marketing, and I graduated in that field. Did a minor in computer science, but it wasn't something I finished. then from graduation from college, I picked up my sister from Indiana and drove out west to San Francisco, California. It's a couple of startups over there. Well, when I first drove out to San Francisco, I was still trying to figure out how to leverage my marketing advertising degree. So then I didn't really have the technical skills to do like Illustrator or Adobe, all those other things. So they really didn't teach it at the college, and it was more conceptual. So I went to a technical school at college in San Francisco, and I did that for 2 years. And back in when I was trying to get hired, they didn't have the internet. It's early 2000s. So I was thumbing through the yellow pages, if you can remember that. Yeah, so I forgot. You're right. The white pages, right. So I stuck on the yellow pages and I called every advertising agency, probably like 20 to 30, until I got an internship. So I interned at one of the biggest advertising agencies back then that handled the Joe Boxer, Crystal Geyser, and Powerball account. And they also worked with Alex Trebek, Alex Trebek on what's that show, Jeopardy. So I interned for them for about a year or two. Then I stayed in marketing for probably another year or two, and worked on different accounts. Cliff Bar was another one, some other automotive accounts too over there. And then I got hired or got recruited to go to a startup. The startup, I became a web developer and software developer. And that company got bought out by Princeton Review in recent years. And then I jumped into another startup. So once you're in the startup realm, if your resume uh, is suited for a particular position that's opening on a new startup, the recruiters will come to you. Yeah. So back again in the early 2000s, it was a wonderful time. I remember actually, it's true what they say. You work 24/7 and you sleep at the office. So we had a crew of about 15 people. I was in e-learning. So before this whole massive online learning trend that's happening now, and since COVID, it's been trending up. I was on the ground floor trying to build these apps, doing hard coding again before AI, right? So I'm glad I pivoted, and that was exciting. Then I created another company with a friend of mine as a mobile and technology company. In San Francisco, we have 4 stores. Um, I did vinyl toys, I did product designs in the back end, and we went to schools and we have partnerships to fix their mobile devices and some of their work with their IT department. Yeah, I like that. Yes, that's a great question. I think with changing hats, it's a falsehood where people say you can multitask because your hand activity could be in it, but your mind and soul and heart is not in it. So there's head, heart, and hand, right? So if it's not all aligned, you're gonna miss that. For me, changing hats, you only have one head, so you're literally going between and transitioning physically. So that it sort of grounds me. So when I was going to different industries and fields and learning it on the ground floor, I found myself having to push the reset and learning from people smarter than me, and then being open to learn from them and then apply it in my own way, but more effectively for the work to get done. Yeah, I think all the above. Being patient is definitely something that is a good attribute to have when wearing different hats and working with people to solve the same problem. Work with people smarter than you oftentimes, which I found myself always not the smartest person in the room, but I'm pretty resourceful and I'm pretty open when it comes to being humble to learn from other people. So that was something I always was aware of. Uh, and again, the patient is the word. Because that learning curve, depending on the field you're trying to enter and the things you're trying to get done, you have to have that patience to lower that curve of learning. And then working with somebody in partnership to get that objective or task done.
Be an entrepreneur in the situation that you and I are both in. Let's start with the high school student. What would be the one or two things that you can tell them that would be inspiring enough to say, "Oh, I'm glad I watched this show."
Well, yeah, I would say this. Don't always try to chase the trends. I think go back to the basics. I think the whole thing with now with AI is very, very, very super dangerous. Uh, my contrarian view on that is that AI cannot beat HI. So HI is human intelligence, right? And I think that that grounds you into reality. And if you think about AI or even the digital world, because again, my past is working with e-learning, so I had to convert everything that's tangible into this digital realm. The same thing's happening now with AI. You're using AI as a tool, obviously, and I think that's been said millions of times. But the key is it's it's not really using it as a tool as a binary thing, like input and outputs. It's the incoming and then what's outcoming. So what that means is you have to ask the right questions to get the right answers, right? You just can't have assume. So there's two parts of that. You have to have the consistent foundation, and on that foundation, you have a layer of facts you have to ask to get the right outcome, right? So I would say to the high school kids, don't chase the current trends, but listen to your teachers and go back to the basics, right? Not every school needs a digital literacy plan. They should have just a reading and writing literacy plan. And that, again, cannot go away. Think about how many times you have power outages. What happens when the internet's out? Do people even know how to communicate anymore? Just normal conversation. It's very sad. I mean, I've seen these kids. Yeah, people are scrolling. It's called doom scrolling for a reason. They're actually predicting your future right there, right? And now there's a reverse play, which people are trying to come back to the analog world, which I think is important. And to me, that's a through line for anyone. Every target segment that you're talking about, high school, college, and people who want to be entrepreneurs. I mean, chasing the trends, you're risking a lot. Hence, for obviously entrepreneurs, but you have to balance that, counterbalance it with analog world, what's really happening, connecting with people, right? There's a whole thing about community, right? Who's your tribe? Who's your community? And that comes back to the analog world. You, yeah, you can grow exponentially online, but who's your real friends? Like we have the Facebook friends. Yeah, the now LinkedIn is a glorified Facebook, LinkedIn friends. But you and I think this is better. I see your face, and I bet you in person. I think it coalesces, and then it becomes more of a genuinely human experience, right? So, and I think that the second thing you're talking about was college segment. The college segment, I would say the same thing. The through line is the human experience, the human connection, and human intelligence to oversee the digital realm. And then for one of the entrepreneurs or who are in the entrepreneurial stage and trying to build up, it's the same thing too. when you have these Eventbrites, you have all these in-person events like Michigan Tech Week for a reason. They're driving you back to the analog world. And this is coupling. But I think the if you think about pyramid, the bulk of the foundation is the analog world. And then it goes up into digital. But it's not the other way around, which people are confusing it with because people are caught up with this whole AI thing. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, that's a great comment to question to clarify. To me, analog world is where we're here in reality, and it is going back to what I was saying, the foundation. So, the foundation is when you talk about analog world, it's grabbing a pencil, it's things that are tangible in front of you, it's talking in person with somebody, and there's no digital screen in front of you or in that made up world. Pretty much what digital is trying to do is take everything analog and put it to this different uh, out of reach world online, but it's not the same, right? If you think AI will ever have a human heart, no, it's like the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz. That's not going to happen, right? So that's what I mean by analog world. It's the in person world.
If they've never been introduced to it, then all they've seen is just this or watch people scrolling on their phone or things of that nature, then they will never know that this is not real. It'd be hard to say what is real versus what you've been seeing. And you try to tell them that, I may say, well, you're just old fool. That's something you used to do. We don't do that anymore. So in that same transition, do we prepare for the future for what their standards are? Or do we remind them of the past, how things used to be, to see if they will come back to that?
Um, I do understand what you're saying. I think it goes back to what I was saying before about foundational uh, agreement or foundational setting. So if you have the same background or you and I are probably around the same age, I think that the foundation we come from, we know about the yellow pages. So when I say yellow pages, you said what? The white pages automatically. Right, right, right. Correct. So what I was saying is I said yellow pages and you reminded me about the white pages. So you and I are of the same foundation. We're starting the same way. So if I've been called like, sir and uncle just because old school too, because they have no reference point. I mean, there is a clip, I forget what station, what channel on YouTube, but they were showing kids the rotary phone when you were dialing back in the day. They didn't know what that was. They had 10 seconds to figure out to call 911. They could not call 911, right? And how many kids these days remember their parents' numbers? Or is it like speed dial too? So to answer your question, when it comes to a reference point, we have to be on the same page. So I think for kids, there needs to be a bridge between the two, their generation and old school. And there's ways to do that. It's just a matter of introducing it themselves, introducing the subject matter or whatever to them, to the kids. And have the kids be, and it goes both ways. The kids needs to be open enough to learn and see where we're coming from. And, if we're on that bridge together, in the middle, we can understand each other's side, and we're not going to be here forever. So it's them carrying it over from the middle of the bridge onto the other side. So they need to take that past history and wisdom from us, not to sound arrogant, but it's a bridge of understanding. So it has to go both ways. Um, that's all I would say. I mean, they have to be open on their side too. And if they just wash you off as saying, "Oh, you're just an OG, you don't really know anything. This is the way it is with AI," and I've had people say that to me, and I say, "No, you and I are talking in person. You think that could be um, displaced or erased? No." So it's a matter of them being open as well as us trying to figure out how to cross that bridge with them.
I know obviously you talked about AI. I have a couple of favorite AIs that I use. I love Chat and Claude and Gemini now, even more so than what there used to be. Some perplexity to some degree, but is there a list of AIs? Are those the same, or you like to use or put your hands on, or is something different, or some of the same?
It's the same. I also would add in Grok because Grok's amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying it again because I think they're always pushing updated the software. So it's amazing how fast it can go. Um, I think to something you said earlier, people are doing this trying to get AI to do shortcuts, and it's for instant gratification and instant productivity. But I think there's no learning gap in which they know what they're writing or know what they're doing. So, and asking the right question is very pertinent to the situation. And uh, that's why you have the prompt engineers, right? Now that you have to ask the right question to get the right results for yourself, and then have to compile all that together. I think the instant gratification is getting people, and the younger kids and people who are not savvy enough to understand that um, that instant gratification is going to be their downfall. It's definitely going to be their downfall, and the kids these days don't understand that. And even new entrepreneurs that they don't understand it either because eventually what's going to happen is you can have all these data points, results, and quote unquote productivity, but then if you get in front of the investors and you can't answer their questions, guess what? You're not going to get the money. They're going to see right through you and say, "Hey, did you create the slide deck or did you do like chat GPT, like 5 second creation? Do you really know your data points?" So if I take that away, similar to your phone, and you call 911, you even know how to press it, you know? It's the same difference, right? I think it's the funniest thing. There's so many people, I'm on an advisory board for some San Francisco companies, and they ask me the same thing. I look at their slide and say, "What? You?" Okay, so I'll just take a random page and ask them a question, and they can't answer it. They can't answer to the level of understanding. They can answer it superficially, but they don't really understand the concept, what they're trying to say. Yes. Yeah, I think that I wouldn't laugh at them. I think it's possible because we're all energy. And yeah, exactly. You have the money and we're all energy. We're energetic human beings. So vibrational. So I think it's possible. I wouldn't put it past them. So I would ask them to, well, I would say, what do they mean by time travel? Is it a mental state? Is it a physical state? Is it a spiritual state? Which one is it? And then it's not impossible. I mean, I worked in a nursing home and the people there, they're time traveling in a sense. They're in a different realm. We're not able to connect with them because we're not in the same state of mind. But they're time traveling. They'll talk about the same thing in a segment of time back in their youth. They're traveling back in time, literally. And it's a cycle in there. And I just can't relate because my time travel is in the present. But they've traveled back then. They're stuck there. And there's medicine for them to get cured and come back to the current state to align with me. So time travel is literally it depends how you see it. So if they were to come and ask me that question, I would ask them more questions as far as what did it mean by that? Yeah, that's funny you asked that because I have a product in front of me. Um, I don't know where I put it, but it's yeah. Let me see if I can grab it for you. Just give me a second. I had it here. I think I was showing somebody. And I don't think they gave it back to me. Well, it's pretty much a USB figurine that sits on your desk. This is back when I had my own company in San Francisco, and just imagine this guy here. So it's a USB figurine that sits on your table, and you can charge it. You can plug it in and you a USB charger. It's a power pack, right? Correct. And the power pack, it's supposed to have the plug on the side so you can enjoy the figurine the way it looks on your desk. But when I was sending it in Asia, I had them do it on the side, but the engineers thought that the molding itself would be harder to have a hole on the side versus on the bottom. Assembly was easier to have it on the bottom where he's sitting. So what they did instead is they made 1,000 of these and stuck the USB charger underneath where he's sitting. So then what happens is the product needs to be laid down to have the charger going into the bottom of the foot, which is a big mistake. It was a $10,000 mistake and they ended up paying for it. But the point being is that for product development, you have to be very specific and have them uh, cater to you and have the criteria or brief specific enough to know that you cannot change the way the design is. The design is on purpose. Even though it might be more efficient for assembly or even the architecture or however they want to do the circuitry, s- be very specific and do not sway from the design of it because there's a reason why the design is sitting up, not laying down. So they made that mistake. My misstep was the fact that I didn't check in with them prior to them sending out the samples to you. I should have checked. I just assumed that they would understand and not make any change without consulting them. They did, they did, but 2 weeks out, I should have checked with them too. I did not. I just assumed that it's going to be okay, which is not the case. Wow. Yeah, I think that's a the legal question. I don't know, but it seems like it would change it. And then you have to go back to the legal advisors to get that adjusted. Hmm. Exactly. Yes. Back in the day, we worked with a couple of companies. So we have a liaison in Hong Kong, and this again, it's in the early 2000s, and we had them do the graphics and the outer packaging, the serial number, and everything else on their side because they're just a hop away from Shenzhen and Guangzhou. So we had them on the ground floor over there doing that. Well, we had since when they know you, they'll tend to send you, especially they know you have a retail front in San Francisco. They'll send you samples in which you can white label items. So they'll have these new quacky, wacky, whimsical things, and they want you to put it into their store. But they'll say, "Hey, you can white label, so you put your name on it." So they like ours is a DE iPhone repair, mobile technology. So you can have your own design in it. So we had this one, it actually became a hit. It was called the suction piggy, and it's a stand for your phone. It's a suction cup, and the face of the pig was cut out as a circular suction. And we used to call it. We love white labels. We would call it oinkies, and we gave away for free because they were like a set. But they gave us like thousands of them. So that was a really crazy one, and they made different versions of the suction. So they had a raccoon suction. They'll cut out the face. It's sort of scary for kids, but it actually worked. So you could pop up your phone as a phone stand holder. So I thought it was sort of funny that they sent that to us. Oh, white label is when you have a generic product. It's all made the same in mass production, and then you can just customize and put your own logo or own brand on it. I have, and I have my attorneys work on it. The process is when you're doing licensing, you're going to different potential companies that already have a out-facing uh, public persona or brand, and then you have them look at your product, and then you work out an agreement percentage-wise how much they will pay you. Um, and then they also again they'll work with their engineers to see how they will make your idea to become reality fit in their brand portfolio. And that's a long process. When I was doing this back in San Francisco, it took 5 to 7 years to even get the stuff even done. And again, it's a slower grind back then. It probably is faster now. I haven't done it recently. I am working on products and again in tandem with the guy in San Francisco, but it's probably a shorter life cycle now with that. It depends on the amount of money you need at that time, because I don't like to just do one product, I like to do multiple products. So you sort of have to balance out between the 2. I mean, if you need the influx of money to depending on what the reason is, to go into your next product, yeah, have them buy me out. But if you are in a situation where you're okay to have the consistent checks coming in and you're all right financially and you don't need that money for anything else, you can just sit back and get the royalty checks.
AIG organization, there are a lot of guys, and I'm sure a lot of people who's listening at this program has lots of projects. So how do you know when to develop so much time to one project to go to the next project? And, oh, I got a new thought. Should I start building this one or should I stay concentrate on this one? Or, you just become multiple doing a lot of projects, or do you say, I'm just write this down and just wait and just make sure I complete this one project? What is your process?
Sometimes I can get all over the place, but what I do is I have my yeah, so I have my notebook here, and I pretty much just have this. It's like a detective notebook when you get pulled over. I'll actually write you a ticket. Exactly. Yeah, these things got bad memories. Anyways, with this, I have this next to me all the time and with me. So then I just jot down ideas and note in my notes in there. And I try to group them by categories. If I'm at like Burger King and I find a way to actually I have this a way to have the ketchup cups be more of a prettier product, I'll draw that down, write it down. So that's like hospitality, restaurant-ish. And then if I'm at the dollar store and I'm come across a product that like pens or stationery that I think that could be improved, I'll have that as a different category. And so I'll delineate it according to the category. Because I know my mind can be scattered. So that's the way I do it. I categorize it by product. My measurement benchmark would be how I felt about the end result. Did I give it all? Did I give it my all? Did I uh, go to all my resources and try to get that product done? And did I try to work it out so then I can get a licensing deal or have it venture through different investors so then I can have it on the market? So I think the benchmark for me for success is how I felt about it. Because not every product is going to be quote unquote successful in the eyes of the public. But as long as I felt good that I put all my effort in it, I mean, that's fine because you can't make it's just how you think that the product is from you, from your birth of it. Because, guys can be, the only way we can give birth is through products, right? We're not seahorses, so we can't give birth to like humans. So that's the way I measure it. I try not to get down too much because I've done so much of this that when people say, "Oh, why didn't you continue that product?" Blah blah blah, and get a bit because they have their opinion. But I go back to what I say. I think that timeline, it was like a stop sign. It wasn't like a continue go sign. So I'm okay with it. So again, my benchmark comes back to did I put all my effort into it? If you don't have a lot of money, I would definitely go the PPA route, the provisional patent, and that way you're leveraging the resources out there with companies that have already done it, so they can verify your product. So they say, and again, they're on the ground floor. They see the market. They know the market potential. They can help you just by the calls that you interact with them to learn about your product. Right. You can also use again, AI to even look at the market landscape. And with your product, you just upload a picture of your product, and they can generate an image in which is most fitting for the potential market that you're targeting. So there's not a specific route. I think for me, the way I do it, if it's tech heavy and software heavy, I would seek out a lawyer to help you with the patent. But if it's like low fidelity, things that can be easily calculable, I think that you don't need to have it patent necessarily. You can have a provisional, and then you can try it at farmers market, and you can have the provisionals on your brand or on your documentation saying that it's patent pending. You can use some more leeway time wise. Cease and assist, yeah, I got that. We got that in San Francisco because we did. We got it from Apple. Yeah, man, this is crazy. Um, where do I start with this? So I was surprised. No, we didn't know it was coming. We actually thought it was a joke because we actually have a couple of friends that are attorney in San Francisco, and they sent us these like legal things just as a joke. It's almost like April Fools for them every day. But they just like to just mess with us. But this one was Apple and Cupertino sent us a cease and desist because we had their logo on a couple of products that we were white labeling. So we had 4 stores. Somebody, I guess, came in to get their phone fixed, and then they saw, the USB one I was showing you. We had a different version, but they had an Apple logo on the bottom left-hand side, and I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was something that the factory did as a mistake. And then I guess that guy took a picture, went back to the Apple people, and then we were getting bombarded with letters saying that this is not our product. This is a this is a cheap version from overseas, blah 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 blah. And we had to seek out our attorney to fight that off, saying this is not something. It was more like a caricature of Apple. It wasn't specifically officially Apple, but they said that that's something that's too confusing for the public, and you're associating with Disney characters, and all. I'm like, these billion-dollar companies are coming after us. This is a joke, and we just kept getting these letters. Yeah, because we had a store in Silicon Valley, that's in San Jose. So then they went to our store, and I guess that I can't be at multiple places at once. So when the manager called me, they're like, you got another letter. You got to come out here." And you have people outside. Like, what? What? Are you serious? Yeah, it was a well, I don't know about that because I never made it down there in time because I was trying to do the San Francisco office. But I remember him calling me and like, "Oh my god!" So take a picture of the letter and then send it to me, and I sent it to my our attorney, and then he sort of cleared things up, saying this is a caricature. It doesn't represent Apple's logo specifically. It's just a rendition, artist artist imagination of your brand. So that was our uh, a deflection moment for them. So that's
So
what
you
they
were
used.
clean. They cleared it up
Yeah,
and
they
they
cleared it up.
stopped. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Were you guys nervous, a little scared that they may ask for you to pay however much money they thought they may have lost?
Yeah, I was nervous, and my business partner wasn't. My business partner, he's a really good poker player, so he's always like this. He's a cool cucumber. I could say fire in a building, and he'll walk out. I'll be running out. He's that kind of guy.
And she sent me
Whoa.
a picture. I said, "Oh wow, I, wow." never seen. So, have you ever seen anybody do something with your product that you invented? Maybe put it in the New York Times or something, or maybe they did something to just say, "Oh, I like you took my product and done this with it." And yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I never had somebody tattoo anything of what I've done on my body. That is awesome. That's awesome. That's like a permanent reminder of Derek Watson. That's awesome. Um, how moment. I think when people come into our stores and they were talking about our products, uh, especially USB Bank, I wish they did it correctly. But they said the design idea was superb for that time. And they wish that it was situated, the plug is different. But I think that was one of our proudest moments because we used to meet so many people. We had especially being Silicon Valley, we had the what's that guy's name from Yelp, the founder of Yelp, Joseph, and we had for other people. We had what's that football player from the Raiders, Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch came to our store and didn't recognize the dad. Yeah, yep. No, no, no. I'm a football guy, and my business partner isn't. So when he called up and he said, "Marshawn Lynch is here," I said, "What? Are you serious?" Yeah, and there's people behind him. Like, oh my god, he's the funniest guy, by the way. He's a very funny guy. Yeah, he's hilarious. So I think proudest moments is meeting people, complimenting us on how we design the stores and the layout and the product itself that we're pushing to. We used to do like these test products to sit on a counter and then have people just test it out. And then based on their interaction, we'll order more. So I think that's my proudest moment, just to interact with the people, but nothing specifically, again, like the tattoo thing. You won me over on that one. I think you got me with me on. No, I want to get there. I want to get there, but no, I haven't had a product that's public that people recognize yet. I am working on a product now. I think I might have shared it with you. Is Drive Be Safe product, which is stops you. It's a digital seatbelt for your phone, so you're not distracted while you're driving. That's something I'm working on now. Yes. Yeah. No, I mean that's pretty clever that you guys think about that. I think that to create a market which you have the opposing side, I think that's gonna keep the market alive. Um, no, I haven't thought about that.
okay. My closing question, uh, and I appreciate you being a guest. I mean, phenomenal. phenomenal. The things that you bring to the table is gonna it's gonna do a lot of people a lot of good, especially me. When I go back over and listen to everything you said, you know. Um, if you could and have the opportunity to work with some astounding inventors or people that have
Well, there's two people that's alive and one person that's no longer with us. Is the one that's no longer with us is Tesla for sure. Um, yeah, and then the guy that's alive is Elon Musk, and this British product designer. His name is Ross Lovegrove. He is a phenomenal product designer. Ross Lovegrove. Ross Lovegrove is a product designer from the UK, and he he takes from nature and he creates these whimsical, beautiful products. He had this one where he redesigned or reimagined uh, light street light street light lampposts, and it's in the shape of a mushroom, the shape of a tree, and it's so beautiful. And his designs are very astounding and it's very memorable. So that's somebody I want to work with. No, he built a truck. We talking about Cybertruck, Elon Musk is ugly. That's a ugly. Yeah, I think he's a brilliant guy, but that design, I think, was just make people love or hate him, and just put in branding wise. Yeah, it was intentional because that was a joke. Come on, my two
I
year
want to
old
say
niece would
that,
do
you
that.
know, because it seems like they did that intentionally so people, like you said, love or hate,
Yeah,
so that, you know,
mhm,
you'll see this thing coming down and it's not the standard attraction that we have on our sports cars or trucks we have today. It's so much
correct.
different. So the people will buy it just for that reason, just to be opposite of you or whoever has whatever they have, you know. So it's interesting to hear you say that, you know.
It's true. It's true. You hit
Yeah.
it on the nail. He did it on purpose.
Hmm.
Where I'm going in life, it's where God is helping me go. I don't know specifically. I know I'm still working with the AI company in San Francisco, and I have some things going on here in Detroit. Um, Immediately though, I'm working on the diabetes safe that you're talking about, and I was trying to work with JC on it, but I have the investors having me take a pause now to reconfigure how I'm going to approach it, either through the licensing route or through the self venture route. So yeah, I've approached them and they told me that I had to talk to the people in Lansing to get anything going. On a local level, regional level, they don't handle that. So I had to go all the way up to the top, which is again, it's going to be very convoluted because all the red tape and bureaucracy that comes involved with that.
Q, thank you so much. You made my day, that's for sure. I don't know if you have any questions for me. Probably not. You'll see me at the next meeting or so if you ever have the opportunity to be free. But I want to thank you again. What about? Oh, you just let me know. I know you offer or asked me to show up one of the I think the 50 million cups and do something there. I'm just trying to see if I can find the time to do that. But if you need my assistance in anything else, don't hesitate to ask.
Right. I admire what you do. And I think I probably met you a couple of times prior to this in different capacities, different events, even prior to the elite group that I'm involved with now. And I think that you're a phenomenal guy, man. I think that you have a lot of talent. I think I looked through your product before. I'm like, oh my god, this is impressive. It's useful. Light vest. I think that's very practical, very useful. And the guitar, light too. I think that it makes sense to me. So well, I did. Well, the music one, I think that Motown. I mean, did you talk to the Motown guys? Oh, okay. Oh, oh, you didn't patent it. Oh,
So
man.
no, didn't. So I said, well, it's exciting to see that there is some people want it. Some people still place orders. I just got to find time to build them. It takes a minute to build. So I got to find an easy way to manufacture it or get it mass manufactured. I just make it. I'm learning now to make sure that there's an interest, there's a market for it before I start pouring lots of money into something. So that's where I'm at on that. So, but I appreciate the help. If any hint to anything else that you see that will be beneficial, please let me know. But thank you so much, and
Thank
let
you.
me know where if you
Alright.
need any help on anything.
Alright. Thank you,
All right.
Derek.
Thanks
You
to
take
you.
care. Alright. Take care. Bye-bye.
So we got more people coming up on the circuit, so be sure to stay tuned. I'm DC Washington for the circuit.